Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the August 2019 customer webinar. At this customer webinar, Joe Hansen, Senior Product Manager for TownNews, is here to teach us more about digital advertising technology. He's going to talk about ad trends, platforms, and ad positions. Also joining us today is Stevie Longwith on the phone. She's our Ad Ops Manager. Sean Bova, Senior and Software Engineer. But a whole conversation about your title, and I wrote it down wrong. Christine Masters, Director of Product Management, and I'm Cherry Wolf, Marketing Specialist for TownNews. The presentation will take about 30 minutes and a Q&A will follow. At any point, you can type a question into the chat box, but we'll wait to answer them at the end. Today's webinar is being recorded and will be available early next week. Joe?
All right, so I'll take it away. I'll start off just a quick introduction. I'm a new Senior Product Manager here at TownNews. Just a few short months ago, I was a customer of TownNews and attending these webinars. So this is my first shot at running one of these, so I appreciate that. We're going to talk today about ad-related things, not just, we're not talking about ads themselves, but talking about placement on your website, programs and things that we offer to help improve your ad return, trends that we've seen in ads, and some additional things that we've taken care of, like new creative templates, and then looking a little bit into the future of what we're working on in relation to ads. So we'll start off with ad trends and viewability. Viewability being the big item. It's been a big thing. But first we'll start with where traffic is consumed. Across the TownNews network of sites, we're seeing that about 75% of traffic originates on a mobile or tablet device. So that is a primary consideration that you need to take into account when you're laying out your ad positions for your articles and your index pages, and also the types of ads that you're serving. So make that your number one focus. Make sure your ads are designed in a way that can be easily viewed on mobile devices. For example, you don't want to have really dense information. You want to make it quick, easy, accessible, quick calls to action, etc. AMP articles are also another big factor there. A lot of content being ingested on AMP articles, which again are very streamlined and have a lot of in-article ad placement positions. That goes as well for our Blocks Now app and the Facebook Instant Articles. The Now app has two layers of ads available. One is on the topic section front type pages, and those are served differently than the articles that are seen in the articles, the ads that are seen in the articles themselves. So when you do book an ad for those, you'll need to make sure you book an ad for two different ad units. There's different serving technologies in place there, so keep that in mind. One of the other things to think about for your Now app ads is the reduced number of page views that you'll be getting for those ads just due to traffic trends. So you want to make sure that if you are selling share of voice style ads, that you're not over committing so that you can't meet your advertisers' needs. So just bear that in mind. Really look at your traffic for your app and understand just how many page views you do have there, and plan accordingly when you're booking those orders. The next big item is ad viewability. This is it's been something we've been talking about for a couple of years now, but it's really becoming a big factor to the point where even local advertisers are considering it when they're placing ads. So just a quick explanation of that. The ad has to be seen, at least 50% of the ad, for at least 1 second or more viewable on screen in order for it to be counted as a viewable ad. And we've seen recently that if your viewability is below 50%, you'll continue to see IQ ads performance drop, your CPM. But if that viewability is over 50%, we can see almost a doubling in your CPM rate for those ads. So highly viewable ads get you a much better earning potential. So you don't need to have as many ad units as long as those are viewable ad units on your page. And the ways that you can improve that viewability, the number one thing you can do is turn on lazy loading. Now, what this does is only loads an ad once it is in view for the user, and obviously that makes it highly viewable. The one problem with lazy loading then is that you won't have as many ad impressions served, because those ad impressions that are hidden down the page aren't going to be served until that ad unit is in view. So in order to help improve the number of ad impressions you can actually serve, you can turn on ad refreshing. That's one of our best practices that we recommend. And basically the default setting to refresh every 20 seconds on user interaction means that as a consumer is reading a story, and as they're slowly panning down the page, they can have their the ads in the rail refresh automatically and get another impression that's viewable served during that time. We also offer some sticky anchor ads in the rail and at the footer of the page, which are also highly viewable. And also in the infinity scroll at the bottom of the articles, where you can have that kind of content discovery, there's also an option to have a sticky right rail ad that sticks with that content and can be refreshed and lazily loaded as well. Again, it's a highly viewable ad spot.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
Just real quick. I just wanted to mention, just kind of double emphasize something that Joe said about ad refreshing. I think that in general, or maybe historically, we might frown upon ad refreshing because it doesn't, someone gets up and goes and takes a nap. Meanwhile, the ad is refreshing over and over again on their screen, which leads to 100,000 impressions as the person was taking a nap, and that's obviously not a good experience for the advertiser. But to emphasize what Joe said, we do refreshing based on user interaction with the page. So the way that we're doing that ad refreshing, it guarantees that there's a good time frame between the loading of the ads and the refreshing, so we make sure that there's some time between there. And then we also make sure that the user is still interacting with the page, so they can be scrolling up, scrolling down, clicking on things throughout the page to make sure that they're still sitting there and interacting with the page. So the way that we've done the ad refreshing is in a much more modern way, and it ensures the value to the advertiser. So I think that's a really good technique to use to, like you're saying, to offset the loss of impression. So it's a good thing to do.
Yep, that's an excellent point.
Hi, this is Stevie Longworth. I actually had one more quick point on that. So one of the things to note with these lazy loading and ad refresh settings, and it does say on the slide there, is available only with Google Ad Manager. So if you're still delivering your ads from Blocks Ad Manager, implementing these best practices does require moving over to the Google Ad Manager server, but we've got a program for that. So, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure, a little bit more here in a bit.
Yep. So speaking of those ad programs that Stevie mentioned, you can generate a lot of revenue with our help. We've got an extensive network now with our IQ Programmatic program, and because of that, we're able to leverage that and get really high CPMs for those programmatic ads. We also now offer programmatic ads for email reach. You can kind of see a little sample of that to the right there, where we're programmatically adding some fairly decent quality ads into emails to turn those emails that you're sending out into something that's actually going to generate revenue for you. And you can ask us to do a full review of your site to learn how you can optimize that revenue. So it's something you can always reach out to us and talk to us with. We offer a complete ad ops program with our IQ and GAM 360. So that basically gives you the ability to have that Google Ad Manager Premium 360 experience with really good future sell-through reporting, inventory forecasting, be able to get those viewability reports to really be able to tell how your ads are performing, and being able to target deeper with 360 than you can with just the regular base version of Google Ad Manager. You can target to a deeper level. And with that as well, you've got an ad ops team that's here to support you and answer your questions and also help you make that conversion from Blocks Ad Manager to Google Ad Manager a seamless and smooth a smooth one. So Stevie, is there anything you want to add to that?
Overall, no. I mean, having the Google Ad Manager 360 server, it's a lot more powerful for ad serving, and it provides a lot more opportunities to make that revenue available when you're not serving local ads. So you move your local ads to the Google Ad Manager 360 server, and it gives the programmatic vendors the ability to see your open inventory, those impressions that are not already sold, and monetize them at the highest possible level. So it's really a very powerful tool.
All right, so now we're going to talk just briefly. We've had creative ad templates available, for a long time, but they weren't officially supported. We now, thanks to Sean's work, have gone through and rebuilt and tweaked all of our creative ad templates, and now that they are officially supported. So we have a reveal ad, which is that expanding big ad that is at the top of the screen. Interstitial ads, parallax ad, the old paw, which is a pencil and wallpaper combination, so a strip across the top and an ad that appears on both sides of the main content area. Just a standalone expanding pencil and a standalone wallpaper version, and a new page curl position as well that can be added to the sites. So these are all now available. These are only Google Ad Manager, so these can be run on either Google Ad Manager Standard or 360. If you're part of our IQ program, AdOps program, those are already there and you can book those easily. Otherwise, you can download the template code and upload them to your own Google Ad Manager instance and be able to serve those types of ads. And these are these really impactful ads, which are really recommended for your local advertisers because they're going to drive high. I'll be very carefully say high viewability here in terms of actually being seen by your customers, whereas there are some issues with the viewability in terms of statistics that we're working through right now. So there are some issues with how creative templates are tracked through Google for that viewability stat, but they're very good for being impactful ads for your local advertisers. The reveal ad is a real popular one on a lot of sites.
Can you go into a little bit more detail on what exactly if I'm a normal person, what is a creative ad template?
Okay, so these are basically HTML5 ads. So these are ads that are interactive in a way. They provide the ability to have maybe animations. For example, the reveal ad can have 3 images inside of it with a transition between the 3 images, and it can also have a YouTube video as part of that reveal. So you could have, for example, where the queen is there, that could be a rotating set of 3 images that fade between them, and maybe there's a clip of Queen playing at a concert in the video to the right. So it can be a really impactful ad. The page curl sits in the upper right hand corner of your page and kind of bounces a little bit, so as you hover over it, it expands open and shows a larger version of the ad. So these are all really nice ads that stand out on the page and don't get lost in the usual the rail clutter, and that can happen.
And so if you're on your own DFP server right now, we do make these templates available that you're able to download them and put them into your own DFP instance, as well as if you are in one of our IQ AdOps programs, they're also available there. And if you're in the Ad Manager, the Blocks Ad Manager implementation, this is, there's a couple of things available. There's an expanding ad available there, but one of the reasons why we created these templates on DFP is to allow people who are using those in Blocks Ad Manager to move over to DFP and use some of those more advanced settings there. So if you're still on Blocks Ad Manager, at this point, there's nothing that you would be missing if you moved over to DFP, and there's a lot of advanced features available there.
Yeah. And you can go to that link that's on that slide, and that link will also be available when this webinar is posted online. So you can go to that link and you can get all the information, all of the code you need to download and instructions on how to set up those ads.
And DFP is the former name of Google Ad Manager.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about ad placement on the page. So one of the first things that I'm going to mention is kind of relates a little earlier to the viewability as well, is that a lot of sites, and this is something that I learned myself, but one of the things we all kind of get in the habit of is placing a leaderboard at the top of the page. That's actually not usually one of your best ad positions because people tend to scroll down the page fairly quickly and may not give that ad a chance to load. So having that placement at the top of the page isn't always the best place to put your premium advertisers. You may want to consider, a larger ads down the page that are interspersed among your blocks. So there's a couple of different ways that you can have your placement controlled. One is by directly placing your Google Ad Manager blocks or your Blocks Ad Manager blocks in regions on the page specifically where you want those ads to render, or in utility regions to have them render in your articles. And that is, if you want to have a lot more control, that's the preferred method. However, we also offer the couple of methods for kind of programmatically placing ads. The first one is fixed ads, and what that does is we've got a set of, or two sets of ad units that are placed around the page. There's leaderboard positions and rail positions and footer positions that are all automatically set up. So those positions automatically exist on the page, and they're basically built into the grid that you select that your site is based off of. Those fixed ads also offer a couple of positions in story. There's 3 positions in story that are tied to those fixed ads, and that's if you choose either the fixed ad advanced or the fixed ads article only implementation. So you could have those 3 spots. We also have a new feature that we're currently working on, and we'll talk more about it in a few moments, but it's called automatic ads. And there's a little bit we have terminology issues here at TownNews sometimes, but this new feature is advanced automatic ads, and it's going to be specifically for articles. And what it's going to do is programmatically place ads every X number of characters throughout your story for optimum placement, and that ad unit will continue to repeat for longer and longer articles. And it also supports a multitude of sizes, and it's a big improvement over the old quote-unquote automatic ads feature that we are going to be deprecating. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment as well. We also have an infinity scroll ad unit injection, and if you want to have complete fine-grained control, you can also use a combination of these things. You could use the fixed ads basic, and then you could have individual additional ad units placed in utility regions or in blocks. It's really up to you how you want to do it. But again, the point is not to have too many ad units. About 6 is actually a good number to have on your page. More than that, you're probably going to be dragging down your overall viewability scores. And again, if you use the best practices of having lazy loading and refreshing on, then you're going to be able to serve a number of quality impressions and have a higher CPM for kind of programmatic ad fill.
I do want to mention that six is a great place to have your benchmark. That is a great number of ads to have on your page. It gives, usually you can sparse them out through the page. There is a slight content to ad ratio. So you want to try and keep it at less than 30% ads per content. That being said, if there's the in-story automatic ads turned on, where you're getting an ad that's based on how many paragraphs or how many words are in the story itself, it's okay to have more than 6 on article pages if your article is really long. If you've got a 3-page article, with 20 or 30 paragraphs, you're going to end up with more than 6 ads because of those automatic ads in story, and that's okay. But framing the page with 6 or less is ideal.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And that kind of plays into this, our best practices here, which is, making your content the main attraction. Because people are coming to your site to read the articles, and the ads are there to help support that. But you want to make sure that you're meeting those better ad standards, which we talked about in the past as well, and there'll be a linked webinar for that one as well. And then, like I mentioned, using those creative impact ads for your local ad inventory is also a great way of really serving those customers well. Again, fewer ads on the page is better. Avoiding low viewability ads, because those are those pages, those ad units at the bottom of your page maybe, or tucked down at the bottom of a right rail that extends forever, and never get seen because they're not lazy loaded, but they're still being shown on the page. So you want to avoid those, because that's going to negatively impact your overall viewability of your page. And then again, like we mentioned at the top, designing your ads for a mobile first experience. All right, so now we're going to talk just briefly a little bit about the future, what we're currently working on. So advanced automatic ads is a new technology that we are currently beta testing. It is meant to replace our existing feature that's called ads on article pages, and also replace the hopefully at some point to replace the fixed story ads, and also help eliminate smart ads, which is basically moving ads that are fixed ads from the right rail into the article on a mobile device. So we have it can be really complicated, and I've been doing a site audit across all of our sites, kind of looking at how everyone has their ads configured, and it's obvious now that I've had a chance to really do that we haven't really communicated very well some of the complexity involved in that. And that's why it's always great, if you've got questions about your ad placements or about how these features work, you can always just reach out to our customer service staff, and they're happy to help you, work through that. So this advanced automatic ads is there to provide more algorithmic placement of ads in your articles. Now, it's going to be based upon the device that's being shown on, and also offers a great number of additional ad unit sizes. So for example, right now, the existing one only supports, I think, a 300 by 250 ad unit. The new one will support pretty much any ad size that you can serve. So if you've got a long form article without a right rail, you could have a nice big, 970 by 250 ad that would appear in those areas. So it's going to be a great way, but now this does require Google Ad Manager. It's only going to be supported by Google Ad Manager, and it automatically enables lazy loading and auto refresh for those ads. You can also target those ad units specifically for Now app and for AMP article pages. So if you want to have a different set of ads being served to your Now app article pages or to your AMP article pages, you'll have that ability as well. So you could have, basically platform specific ads targeted. So, so this is gonna be a new feature. We're currently right now working through the implementation phase. So hopefully we will have this available. I'm not supposed to say dates and times, but hopefully within the next month or so, we'll have a really good way of rolling this out. The problem is the fact that it impacts a lot of existing settings. So we have to make sure that transition works well for everyone.
And just to take a quick step back on this, I mean, as we've gone through this, you can see that there's a lot of different settings and a lot of different best practices and a lot of different things that we recommend that you do and change to this. And that, this is a field in the industry that changes, not jokingly, every couple of months. So if you're not, revamping things and not watching this on literally a constant basis, these things change and you're not getting your optimum revenue using the newest techniques. So this program, the Advanced Automatic Ads, is a way that we're looking to implement the best practices and be able to change them as they continue to evolve over time and change over time, so that we're able to make sure that by implementing a lot of the complexity for you, that we're able to keep up with those best practices on your behalf. So we're really excited about this as a new feature going forward that we'll be able to kind of automate some of those best practices for you. So I think it's going to be a great program.
Yep. And then just a couple other items that we've got in consideration. One of the things we've noticed, or I noticed through my audits, is that locally sold email and newsletter ads, a lot of those are being served right now through Blocks Ad Manager as the only ad that's being served through that Blocks Ad Manager. Everything else on the site is being served through Google Ad Manager. And we're going to look at ways, what the best practice is for serving those local email and newsletter ads economically for sites, because we do know that that's a good revenue source. We can handle for you the programmatic ads, but if we can, we're looking as well to handle those locally sold ads for you, and to be able to do that in a way that is efficient. And then looking as well at other creative ad templates out there that would continue to comply with the better ad standards and also offer, a whiz bang, something a little different than out of the normal box ads that are served on your sites. And now we're at the question phase.
All right. If you have a question, feel free to enter that into the question box. We have a couple. On the Now app, how do you schedule the two different ways? I think all mine are in stories. So when you're scheduling ads in the Now app.
All right.
We have, for the Now app, there are two, you have your in-story ads, which can be the same as your main web ads, or you can choose to have them as different positions in the Now app. So if that's something that you want to target different ads to the in-story ads on the app versus the in-story ads on the web, contact us and let us know, and we can, walk you through how to do that. But then there's also the in-app ads that are on the index pages in the app itself, and those are all your native app ads, which have a specific setting that you put into the app settings of what you want your ad unit to be, and you can set them up that way. So yeah, just contact us and we can walk you through how to do that.
Yeah, and just to chime on that, so for our advanced automatic ads, the ability to swap out the Now app and AMP, that's being rolled out. So that will all be basically, it'll be a URL parameter in the Now app skin to control your ad unit that you're going to use for the advanced automatic ads in that feature.
Okay. Is there a way to turn on ad refresh only in content pages?
Content pages meaning article pages?
Yeah.
So basically, not exactly, no, it's not limited to only just article pages. It would have to apply to every ad within that section. But that being said, each block that we have does give you the ability to disable that feature, I do believe.
Yeah, so if you're using blocks to place your rail, basically the Chrome around the page, if you used ad blocks to set that up with Google Ad Manager ad blocks, and you could turn off the refresh on those, and then if you were to use this new advanced automatic ads, then only the ads in your article would lazy load and automatically refresh. So that would be possible.
How is the reveal ad different from a sliding billboard ad, or is it the same thing?
It's basically the same thing. The only difference on the reveal is you do have 3 images that can transition and basically loop animation between them, and has that video space as well.
For the automatic ads, do they automatically get placed on pages, or do we control how many we want per page?
They will automatically get placed on the page every X number of characters based upon the device you're viewing it on. So it'll be different on mobile, but it'll automatically place them every X number of basically X number of paragraphs, for want of a word, but it's X number of characters.
And that's something that we're able to tweak slightly based on best practices and based on, trying to get, like we were saying earlier, that 30% ads to content ratio. So if we're able to, add more ads onto a longer article, then we'd be able to do that and have a shorter article. If you have one of those articles that only has one sentence in it, then we won't add 3 ads to it, for example. So
Yeah.
it's a smart way to do the in-story ads. Now, I think that we should mention though that that's only for the in-story ads. It's not for ads that go all the way around the outside. So those are still placed through whatever your blocks are set up. We're just talking about inside the story article.
Yeah, and one of the goals of that advanced automatic ads as well is to eliminate that ad stacking that can happen on short articles where all of a sudden you've got 2 ads stacked together at the bottom of it, and it just looks bad.
Yeah, we've heard from a lot of customers that they want to be able to control how many ads are actually put in story based on the viewport itself. So this allows us to basically control that. So, maybe on mobile, the ads are placed more differently, so you don't get, ads, like you said, stacked. And then maybe, fewer ads on desktop. It varies. So then people aren't cluttered with ads, and we're able to make sure that it looks nice still.
Are automatic ads all the same size, and if so, what size?
No, so automatic ads, in its current version, we basically use almost every single size except one. So then it's going to be based on how you target the ads within DFP. The new automatic ads features have specific targeting, and we pretty much leave it open up to every single size with, I think, exception to one.
But the nice thing about that is that if you have an article, for example, that doesn't have a right rail, so the article is a really wide article, like a long form article, for example, and you have scheduled, billboard ads, for example, to be inside of the story, that is possible to do those bigger, nice, big, lazy loaded ads in the middle of the article if the article is wide enough to support it. So it gives you the opportunity to have a greater variety of ad sizes. And then they all compete, especially if we're talking about programmatic, they'll all compete with each other. So if a smaller ad happens to be paying a higher CPM rate than a larger ad, it would win and be served on the article at that time.
Yeah, it's really important. It's important to say that, based on how your page is set up, the sizes available will change based on the allowed width for that page. So, we say that, almost all the sizes are available, but if someone's viewing your site on mobile, we're obviously not going to serve a 728 by 90 there. We're going to make sure that the sizes that will fit your content will be available.
Which is very nice. It automatically adjusts itself to the largest size that it can handle without being cut off or swooshed.
On top of that, also, with automatic ads, we currently have refresh enabled. And once that first size gets locked in, when a refresh occurs, that exact same size ad is the only size that is available. So you're not getting content flowing, reflowing, and the page jumping, which is really important.
Yeah. And I'll also just chime in just to kind of tie 2 features together. Those long form articles are also a great place to have like a parallax ad, which basically, it's a smaller viewport with a larger ad behind it. So as you scroll past it, different parts of the ad become viewable. Those are great to have in story.
I'm using IQ and Ad Manager. How can I implement the various templates on my test page to show my ad director how each works? Are they all 2x1 size? What blocks do I need on that page to do this?
So go ahead, Stevie.
As far as the IQ program goes, if you want to get a test page built to show the team, your internal team, how these different creative templates work, for example, for sales, so that you can, show everybody if you want to sell this parallax ad, this is a demo of it. We can work with you to kind of get that set up. It will require some additional 2x1 positions on that test page, and we may have to make a few different pages for that to work, but go ahead, submit a CRM ticket to the IQ support, and our team will help you get that built.
Yeah, and also the resource that Joe provided is a great example of how each ad looks and works
On our help site.
on our help site. Yeah.
We're not currently using Google Ad Manager for local ads, but what's the strategy that our local advertising reps should use when trying to sell this feature? And how can we make sure to capitalize on local customers' ads when they have purchased directly when they purchase those ads directly through GAM? So it sounds like they're competing their local ads versus programmatic ads. What's a strategy they could use?
Well, generally, if you're using, it sounds like they're using Blocks Ad Manager to serve the ads now
For local.
for local ads, and they're using Google Ad Manager for programmatic,
I'm not sure.
possibly. That would be difficult. Those are two different ad spots on the page, so they're not going to compete. We would highly recommend, just moving completely over to Google Ad Manager, and again, we can help you with that process. And there's lots of resources out there for making that transition, because then you'll be able to really leverage the competition in the marketplace and get yourself better fill rates and CPM for your remnant ads. And then basically at that point you would just price your local ads at a high CPM so they would win in any bidding that would take place for those ad positions.
And also just as a general strategy, to kind of be aware that any ad system that you place on your page, and this goes for Blocks Ad Manager, as well as Google Ad Manager, as well as any other possible thing that you're using that might be serving ads, anytime you add a new ad system to your site, you're adding a couple of seconds of download time to your pages. Just because of loading that ad system onto the page in and of itself adds time to the page download. So if you're, that's why we kind of recommend that if you're using anything with Google Ad Manager to switch entirely over to Google Ad Manager and literally turn off Blocks Ad Manager, because that way you actually save it from loading on your pages if it's not in use. So one way or the other, go to one ad system and have them all loaded on one ad system so that you can save that time on those pages.
How do you get leaderboard or pencil ads to show better on mobile? They are so small.
I will say this is kind of a tricky spot because as a general rule, mobile phones are small. I will say that making sure that you've got a really good designer that understands what kind of image needs to be built for a mobile device is probably the most critical part there. Getting your ads designed so that you have two completely different creatives, understanding that on a desktop device, you're seeing a lot more real estate, and on that mobile, you just simply do have that small space. I do like the parallax ad on mobile as well. So for local advertisers, that parallax ad gives you room to build a slightly bigger ad. But then the window that you view it through is still kind of that smaller area. So it gives you a little bit more design room with the creative, but still keeping the smaller viewport on mobile.
And then just to reemphasize that, so if you have a pencil ad on desktop, which is that like usually 728 by 90
or maybe even like a 970 by 50.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Really skinny pencil.
Yeah, you don't run that on mobile.
Those should not go on mobile because yes, they are too small. So in that case, you, like Stevie said, develop a 300 by 250 or even a 300 by 50, a smaller ad, and then swap those out. Don't show the pencil ad on mobile and then show that smaller banner size or square ad on mobile. And then just to develop two ads for that advertiser and swap them out.
The other position that would be good on mobile is to use that sticky anchor so that, it may be the smaller banner, but it's sticking on the page. So that's also a really good opportunity for a local advertiser to buy a sponsorship on that sticky anchor position.
What do we need to do to switch to Google Ad Manager, and how much does it cost?
Well, you can just talk to your sales rep or call our customer service folks, and they can get you started on it. The benefit is, just anecdotally, if you come into our IQ program, a lot of times we're actually writing checks back to our customers because they're making enough money through programmatic remnant fill to cover the cost, and then even make more money. So it ends up being a win for you. But just reach out to your sales rep, and they can get you started.
I think it's important to say that yes, we have our great IQ program that does offer higher CPMs, but you can make the switch without using our IQ program too. There's great documentations on how to set up that on your site. But yeah, we definitely, making that switch is possible without our IQ team as well.
Yeah.
The advantage of IQ is that we have a larger network that you get the advantages of.
And just the experience and how we have everything set up. And our higher
and we're here to help you.
Exactly.
Okay, that looks like all the questions we have. Thank you so much, everyone. There are plenty of ways to stay connected with us. Like we mentioned, you can find a lot of documentation at help.blockcms.com. We will provide that link for the creative templates when we post this recording. You can call our support desk at 800-293-9576 or visit our website, support.townnews.com, and fill out a CRM ticket there anytime. You can visit our partner community, community.townnews.com. That's a great place to share ideas, ask questions, see what everybody else is doing for best practices. That's where everyone goes to swap ideas. Check the status of our servers at townnews.status.io. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. And you can go to our news page and find one of the very many newsletters you can sign up for. If you signed up for today's webinar, you are added to our webinar announcements. You'll receive the recording and any future webinar updates. And with that, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Stevie, Sean, Joe, Christine. Anyone have any final thoughts?
Nope. Go make money.
Call us if you need help. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.